Hello and welcome to episode 11 of A Cup of Grace and Lori. My name is Grace.
And I'm Lori.
And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing extreme dieting. So Lori is going to get into that. Yeah, what do you mean by extreme dieting?
I think most people probably know what I mean by that, in the sense that, there's nothing wrong with a diet, right? To cut out certain foods or the number of calories. But extreme dieting is when you really reduce the number of calories to the point where it's not healthy.
Okay.
So, and I wanted to talk about this because I've experienced this myself throughout my life. And I think the origins come from messages, especially as women or younger girls, that we receive about our bodies. And I know I did, particularly when I was a teenager. And
Hmm.
actually, I was always I guess, on the thin side as a girl.
Hmm.
Not too thin, but I was thin. And then as I entered my teens, you go through that puberty, and not everybody, but I put on a little bit of weight, not really that much, but when you're thin and then you put on 10 or 15 pounds, it's
It's
noticeable,
noticeable?
or
Okay.
even 20 pounds for that matter.
Hmm.
So I do recall receiving messages about, you know, I'm much broader in the hips now, or I'm more filled out, or oh, I've put on some weight. And as I
You
said,
said that to yourself or some of
no,
the uh, other
other
people
people said that to me. And
directly?
well, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and unfortunately, as a teenager, you totally absorb this. I mean, I'm sure we do as adults too, but
Yes.
as a teenager, we're really vulnerable, right?
Hmm.
So um, I did incorporate those messages, and I'm going to say that that's one factor that influenced me to try dieting, because I did start dieting, I think, in my late teens, and definitely in my 20s. I also took up smoking, which was
At what age?
popular when I was young. I mean, it was, everybody was doing it, but when I realized that I could use it to control, my
Oh, okay.
appetite,
Uh,
then I was, yeah, more hooked on smoking, right?
okay.
Um, Another thing that I did, so I had this, as I said, as I'm entering my 20s, I had this negative body image. And I found, and I only am able to, um, as I analyze it years later, figure out that I attracted men who were really thin men. And which is funny because my body shape, I was not fat. When I look back at the pictures, I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't fat, but I was, I wasn't thin anymore. So it was probably just average, right? But
And it's relative, right?
it's
It's relative.
relative, but because the men I was attracting were quite thin, for they they probably thought I was fat. And a couple of them did say that to me, like, oh, um, you should lose weight. Or once, when I quit smoking, and when I was smoking, actually, I was thin, but then when I quit smoking, I put on 10 or 15 pounds. And one of them said to me, you shouldn't have quit smoking. Or oh my God, you've put on so much weight. Which, that's a typical thing when you quit smoking, until your body regulates, right? And then you figure out the proper balance of food. Many people put on a few pounds after quitting smoking. So,
Well, that makes sense because it's an oral fixation, right? Kind of, right?
yeah,
So once you don't have the cigarettes in your mouth, you want to put
right,
other things in your mouth.
right, right. But it's
So that
also
might happen to me because I'm trying to quit.
okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, but it may not though. As I said, it doesn't happen to everybody, but it is common. So
Hmm.
instead of being supported about, oh wow, I quit smoking, I'm
I
adopting it,
know.
I was told,
Yeah.
oh, you gained weight and you look fat and
My
you should
God.
start smoking again. So what did
Wow.
I do? I took up smoking again. Idiot. Idiot.
Okay.
Although the second
Looks
time,
over health. Looks
yeah,
over health.
well, it
Hmm.
was the messages I was getting from him as well. But the good thing was I only took it up for 2 more years and then I quit for good. And he was out of my life. And although another man was in my life and he smoked, but anyway, and he was also thin. So I guess what I'm saying is I attracted these thin men to reaffirm my own negative body image
Mm,
because I
mm.
wasn't their ideal body type at all. And they even
But they
told me
were
that.
attracted to you.
Oh, they were attracted to me, maybe my face or my personality, but not my body. Neither of them were. I know it. They even told me. They would say, oh, your hips are too big. Or the other
Oh
one,
my
he didn't say
God.
it so much, but he would say what he liked in women. And I thought, well, if that's what you like, I'm nowhere near that body shape. Like he would comment on very thin women and say, oh, she's quite attractive or whatever. And I thought,
This sounds
well, if you like
abusive,
her,
actually.
I don't see what you're doing while you're with me because I've
Yeah.
got a more shapely figure, right? Anyway, both of those relationships did not last. And as I said, I did quit smoking for the second time. And yeah, I put on some weight then, but I felt so much better about myself as I started to, you know, live my own life. And however, having said that, these they crept up again, these negative body images crept up again. And I recall even in my 40s, I don't know what the trigger was, but I wanted to lose weight.
Mm,
And
hmm.
I started off okay on a healthy diet, but then I went extreme because I started cutting out. I was eating just like maybe some vegetables, an egg. I'd cut out dairy even, so I wasn't even eating yogurt.
Yes,
Um,
and that's huge because I know you love yogurt.
I do love my yogurt.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. So dairy, and then I'd have an egg for lunch and
that's
maybe
it? Yeah.
no, no,
You
then
just
I'd
had
have
a
some,
boiled egg
yeah, and then I'd have, now I might have had a slice of bread, which is, yeah,
with
I
butter
think I
on
had
it?
a slice of bread with maybe a bit of margarine on it or something. And then maybe for dinner, I would have had a bit of fish with some vegetables. So that was like crazy extreme because I'm 5'7", and
Hmm.
I'm considered large boned. I don't know if you could tell. I've
Really?
got my feet are size 9 and I'm considered large boned. I'm not like a small boned person. So for a
I
five
consider you
seven,
small boned, actually. I
no, I'm
consider you
not.
small
I'm
boned.
not actually. I'm not when I look at other women that have fine, really, their hands are fine and their bone structure is tiny. I'm not. Uh,
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, for me to weigh 145 pounds
That's
is
normal for your height.
totally normal for my height and for my bone structure. But I wanted to weigh less than that. So,
Hmm.
and the thing is also with dieting like that, you hit these plateaus and then you don't seem to lose any more weight. So then you start eating less because you want to lose a few more pounds. So then you eat less, but that totally screws up your metabolism. Because then once you eat a little bit more later, you immediately put on weight, which I did after going on that extreme dieting in my early 40s. I recall eating more, and then I did put on 10 pounds, but that was actually good because I was quite slim, so I could afford to put on 10 pounds. It's not healthy doing that at all. Like your
Hmm.
your your organs, your bones, your body needs a certain amount of nutrients. And enter my 50s, and I had a hell of a time with menopause and hormonal imbalances, and also
Mm.
changes in my life. It all just converged, and stress. It all converged
Mhm.
into one. Oh, I
Mhm.
won't use the word I want to use because it's a swear word, but um,
We're adults
I
here.
won't use it, but one mess.
Okay.
So then I really put on a lot of weight. And I've talked about this in previous episodes because I was just
Mhm.
able to lose the weight in the last year. But this time, I have not, even though I've lost a lot of weight, it's been over the course of a year.
Yeah.
Even, yeah, I've stopped losing weight now. I've stabilized at my weight for the last, I think since February. So for the last 3 months, I've stabilized, which is great. I'm not
Mhm.
losing any more weight, but my weight loss, my, and it's been around 50 pounds, occurred over a year. So that's
Yeah.
not extreme.
Mhm.
But now I'm able to eat, and I can tell you what I eat. Like I eat a piece of fruit in the morning, then I have some broccoli. I know it's weird, but it's raw broccoli. And I feel we don't get enough vegetables during the day. They say
Mhm.
we need 5 or 6 servings. So, and I also read a long time ago that you should have fruit and vegetables before you eat your meat because they digest quickly. And meat, or when I say meat, I'm talking about chicken, fish, beef, whatever. That takes a couple of hours to digest, but fruit and vegetables digest within 30 minutes. So if you eat
Hmm.
those first, they digest, and then you can eat your meat, and that takes a longer time. But if you eat your fruit or vegetables, not so much, but fruit in particular, immediately after your meat, it can produce like indigestion because the fruit is trying to digest quickly at 30 minutes, but the meat is that you've already eaten is taking longer to digest. So, and I've read this several times that fruit should be eaten either alone or before a protein. So that's a rule I've followed, and I don't tend to get indigestion after eating meat because I eat my fruits and vegetables beforehand. Anyway,
But you
that's,
know how when we order food at the restaurant, for
yeah,
example,
yeah.
they usually put everything together. They give you veggies
I
along with your meats,
I
right?
know I start with my vegetables though, which
Okay.
I
So
admit
you
meat.
don't mix. So
I
you don't
I do
cut up some
sometimes. I
vegetables and then
find
cut it.
I find the vegetables, if they're cooked, it's not as bad. And but I try to eat my vegetables first, and I'll always have a salad first before. Like if there's a salad on the plate, I eat the salad first because it's raw, and then I'll eat the meat. I don't, I read it in a book. I don't know if it's true, but it's worked for me. But I have read,
Mhm.
Grace,
Mhm.
many times that fruit should be eaten on its own. So it's like, say you
Oh,
have lunch.
really?
Yeah, say you have lunch at 12, then you can eat a piece of fruit at 2:30 or something, and then dinner later, or before your meal. So that's why breakfast, I start off with a piece of fruit, then I have my raw broccoli or other vegetables, but usually it's raw broccoli. Then I'll have an egg. Then I'll have yogurt. This is my breakfast, right? And I'll have like 2% plain or 3%. So I don't eat no fat yogurt. I eat fat. Now, then I might wait for a bit and then I'll have a little bit of chicken around 10 o'clock. I, I know it's weird, but I eat when I'm at home and I'm not going out, I eat the bulk of my food during the day, and then I have a light dinner, a very light dinner of a salad with maybe another egg in it, or I'll have some fish or beef. I have a salad every night, and I'll have a protein like a beef or chicken or whatever. And lunch is kind of similar to breakfast. So I I'm so happy that I can eat this much and still maintain my weight because I've never been able to do this before. Um, like I've never, but I think it was the way I was approaching it. Going on that extreme dieting, I think my metabolism was so screwed up that,
Mhm.
I couldn't eat this much without gaining weight. But another thing I read is that if you eat breakfast, which this goes against all the intermittent fasting rules, but they said there was a study that if you eat breakfast, you're revving up your metabolism. So you're burning calories at a faster rate. So you can actually
Is that
eat
why?
more.
Is that why, a lot of the times when I do eat breakfast, it
Mhm.
seems like it's only a short while after that I'm hungry again.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
me too. Um,
Yeah.
but it's because you've revved up your metabolism.
Okay.
So you're burning calories at a faster rate. So therefore you need to eat a bit more. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, just because you're eating more doesn't mean you're going to gain weight, because if your metabolic rate is faster, you're burning calories faster. But I read this study a couple of years ago, and it said they had three groups. The first group ate 2,000 calories for breakfast, which is insane, I know.
How do you even know how many calories that you
Well,
consumed a day? Do you weigh your food?
no, but I know roughly that an apple has about 100 calories in it, right? Like I know roughly an egg has, I do know this, an egg has about 100 calories in it. I know what my
Okay.
yogurt has calories. So no, I don't weigh my food, but, and I don't, believe me, I don't measure I don't count calories per se. I just, am I
Mm-hmm.
hungry? What do I feel like? Eat it. That's my system. Am I hungry?
Mm-hmm.
What do I feel like? Have that. Am I full? Stop. That's my system. But when I tally it all up, like I do know, because I know how many calories my yogurt has, how many calories chicken tends to have, whatever. So I probably eat about, oh, I'm sure I'm eating at least 1,500, 1,600 calories a day.
Okay.
Which is not, that's not that's not extreme,
Mm-hmm.
for my height.
Woman? Okay.
Yeah, for 5'7". Yeah.
Okay.
And what I weigh. Um, but yeah, so back to that study. So they
Mm-hmm.
had one group ate 2,000 calories in the morning and then nothing else for the rest of the day. Second
Hmm.
group ate 2,000 calories at lunch, so no breakfast, no dinner. The third group skipped breakfast and lunch and had 2,000 calories at dinner. The breakfast people lost weight. The lunch people maintained their weight, and the dinner people gained weight.
And what time did they eat dinner?
Okay,
Did that
well, I'm
matter, the
gonna
time?
I'm
I think
gonna
I heard about
assume.
times as
Okay,
well.
let's just
So,
assume that breakfast was at 7:30 or 8 in the morning. Lunch was at 12 or 12:30. Dinner was at 6 or 6:30. Okay. But remember, the dinner people, they skipped meals all day
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they ate dinner. Um, and this is one thing I tried in my 30s. I had this notion as well about, oh, skip breakfast, because then, you're not eating as many calories. So I'll skip breakfast, right? Because then I'm right. Like you think, oh, well, if I skip breakfast, then I won't be eating as many calories during the day. So I would skip breakfast. My first meal and it wasn't even a meal, it was a piece of fruit I would have at around 11 o'clock in the morning. Then I'd have a very, very light lunch at 12, say salad, and again, a salad and an egg or something. And then when I'd come home, I'd have something like pasta, like a lasagna
Very
or
heavy.
something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I would, when I was on that system, I would dip in the afternoon my energy after having lunch, even though it wasn't that much. I mean, it was probably more that it might have been more than I'm saying. It was probably a salad and some meat or whatever. I would dip, my energy would dip because I'd be like, oh my God, I'm digesting that big lunch because I didn't have breakfast. And then at dinner, I'd be really hungry and I'd have, lasagna. Maybe I might have had a slice of bread or maybe two, I don't know. And then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, I just wanted to crash and go to bed, right? Because
Yeah.
now I have a full stomach. So that was not a good system. And especially our food should be about fuel, as like it, of course, it's also social when we get together with friends and the presentation and all that. But it's also about fuel for our bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we eat, to fuel our bodies. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if our eating pattern doesn't provide us with energy, equal energy throughout the day, then I don't think it's working. And that one wasn't working for me because I was like, I would get tired in the afternoon and then tired at dinner. So again, in my early 40s, I did see a nutritionist at the recommendation of my GP, and he told me to write everything down that I ate. And when he saw that I was skipping breakfast and only having like a piece of fruit at 11, he says, no, 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 no. You've got to eat something. I think I've talked about this before. You've got to eat
You
something in
told
the
me.
morning,
Yeah.
and not just a piece of fruit. Like
Yeah.
he's saying, preferably some protein in the morning, but if you can't do that, at least a piece of toast with fruit, like a whole grain or whatever. And then protein and more veggies at lunch, and protein and veggies and a bit of carbs at dinner, and snacks in between, like a bit of yogurt in between. Like, so when I switched over to that system, I felt so much better eating breakfast. And I
Mm-hmm.
was able to eliminate drinking coffee, because that's what I used to do when I skipped breakfast. I would have 2 coffees in the morning. That was my breakfast. So
Yeah.
once I started the system of eating breakfast, I was too full. Like I was like full. I'm like, I don't need coffee. And now breakfast is, I'm awake now. I have energy. I don't need coffee anymore, because I
Mm-hmm.
was drinking coffee to get
Compensate.
to give me energy, to wake
Mm-hmm.
me up. And now it's like, oh, I'm eating breakfast. I don't need coffee. So that's when I was able to quit coffee, which was having, that was about, I think it was in my early 40s. So that's a long time ago. But
Mm-hmm.
um
Wow.
I
Yes.
haven't gone back to coffee. So anyway, I know I've strayed a little off topic. It's all related to this extreme dieting and how that comes about for particularly women. Although I'm sure it happens to men as well. It's just that women we tend to get these messages about our bodies that
Mm-hmm.
we're supposed to look a certain way, and when we don't conform, or our body changes, oh my God, we're not up to standard or something.
Mm-hmm. I
So I
know.
did incorporate these. um, I'm feeling much better about my body now. I've got, as Grace knows, I've got wrinkles on my body because I've lost weight and I need to firm up. But I'm like, that's okay. I'll firm up. I need to do the arm exercises and whatever. And I will do that. But despite that, I'm still feeling so much better. And I'm so happy that I can eat what I do, the amount that I eat, and I'm still at a stable weight. So I'm thrilled about that, to be honest. Going out to restaurants, and Grace has seen me eat. I'm not like, I do eat what they serve me. I eat the fried food. I don't eat a lot of carbs, but I'll tell you what, if I crave them, I'll eat them. So it's
You
not
don't
like I'm
restrict yourself.
against carbs.
Yeah.
I do find though, like if you go on a 5 kilometer walk or run, you crave them, right? You need carbs, and I'm not doing that yet. I'm building up my strength again. Let's put it that way. I think we just need to listen to our bodies and say, okay, what am I craving? Like, I think cravings are okay. I mean, even if it's for
Yeah.
even if it's for chocolate or
It's
whatever,
natural.
not shaming myself or whatever,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
No. I think that would
So,
make it worse.
oh yeah, no, like
Yeah.
as I said, sometimes we might even feel like chocolate. So what? So have it and enjoy it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
But
all I wanted to say about extreme
mm-hmm.
dieting. I'm
So
really
you're
happy.
done with the extreme dieting, right? You're done
I
with that.
am. I
And
am.
how's your self-image? Because I think that's like the most important thing.
Much
You know what I
better,
mean?
much better,
Right?
much
It's
better.
internal.
Yeah. Oh,
Because you were saying
absolutely.
in your 40s, you were triggered again, and you're
I
not quite
was.
sure
I
how you
was.
were. So it's
Yeah.
something that was unresolved
Right.
internally.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know
So,
what that was exactly, but
well, it could have been your anger. It could have been anger.
yes.
But,
Yes.
and
Just
I
kind of,
think you did mention uh, during one of our previous episodes where you talk about your 40 plus pound weight loss. There
oh,
was
now that,
resentment. There
yes.
was
Oh,
resentment, and you released
right.
it. And
Right.
then that's when you started seeing the physical
Yes.
transformation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So I guess you just take it day by day, but this is working for me now. I hope to continue on this path.
Well, and
Hoping,
also you're on an internal healing journey still, right?
yes.
Like
Yes.
you're like on this self-improvement
Yes, I am.
journey, right? So
Yes.
yeah, you're working on what's happening going on the inside.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that's yeah, that will just complement what's
Right.
happening, right, with your
The
food
outer
intake.
is just the result of the inner. Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear any of our followers, their experiences with extreme dieting, or if you don't agree with what I've just talked about, I'd love to hear that too. Please, please leave us comments. I'm open to hearing other points of view. Hope you have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.